You speak such smart words, Mr. Blaze. What other facts do you have?
Mr. Senator, in 1938 Popular Mechanics printed this, and quote apostrophe, it has a short growing season. It can be grown in any state. The long roots penetrate and break the soil to leave it in perfect condition for the next year's crop. The dense shock of leaves, 8 to 12 feet above the ground, chokes out weeds. Hemp. This new crop can add immeasurably to American agriculture and industry. In the 1930s, innovations in farm machinery would have caused an industrial revolution when applied to hemp. This single resource could have created millions of new jobs, generating thousands of quality products. Hemp, if not made illegal, would have brought America out of the Great Depression. William Randolph Hearst, Citizen Kane, and the Hearst Paper Manufacturing Division of Kimberly-Clark owned vast acreage of timberlands. The Hearst Company supplied most paper products. Patty Hearst's grandfather, a destroyer of nature for his own personal profit, stood to lose billions because of hemp. In 1937, DuPont patented the processes to make plastics from oil and coal. DuPont's annual report urged stockholders to invest in its new petrochemical division. Synthetics such as plastics, cellophane, celluloid, methanol, nylon, rayon, dacron, etc., could now be made from oil. Natural hemp industrialization would have ruined over 80% of DuPont's business. Andrew Mellon became Hoover's Secretary of the Treasury and DuPont's primary investor. He appointed his future nephew-in-law, Harry J. Anslinger, to head the Federal Bureau of Narcotics and Dangerous Drugs. Secret meetings were held by these financial tycoons. Hemp was declared dangerous and a threat to their billion-dollar enterprises. For their dynasties to remain intact, hemp had to go. These men took an obscure Mexican slang word, marijuana, and pushed it into the consciousness of America.
Wow, Popular Mechanics printed an article about this, and with the real facts. I'm starting to realize maybe even I have been deceived by big business.
Yes sir, seems that this harmless plant has had a bad name for no reason. Just think, this plant has been around since the beginning of time.
Well, how about the health issues of marijuana? Or well, I guess I should start calling it cannabis. There is a lot of myths, and is there any facts to back them up?
Myth: marijuana can cause permanent mental illness. Among adolescents, even occasional marijuana use may cause psychological damage. During intoxication, marijuana users become irrational and often behave erratically. Fact: there is no convincing scientific evidence that marijuana causes psychological damage or mental illness in either teenagers or adults. Some marijuana users experience psychological distress following marijuana ingestion, which may include feelings of panic, anxiety, and paranoia. Such experiences can be frightening, but the effects are temporary. With very large doses, marijuana can cause temporary toxic psychosis. This occurs rarely, and almost always, when marijuana is eaten rather than smoked. Marijuana does not cause profound changes in people's behavior.
Oh, continue.
Another myth: marijuana is highly addictive. Long-term marijuana users experience physical dependence and withdrawal, and often need professional drug treatment to break their marijuana habits. Fact: most people who smoke marijuana smoke it only occasionally. A small minority of Americans, less than 1%, smoke marijuana on a daily basis. An even smaller minority develop a dependence on marijuana. Some people who smoke marijuana heavily and frequently stop without difficulty. Others seek help from drug treatment professionals. Marijuana does not cause physical dependence. If people experience withdrawal symptoms at all, they are remarkably mild. Myth: marijuana is more potent today than in the past. Adults who used marijuana in the 1960s and 1970s fail to realize that when today's youth use marijuana, they are using a much more dangerous drug. Fact: when today's youth use marijuana, they are using the same drug used by youth in the 1960s and 1970s. A small number of low THC samples seized by the Drug Enforcement Administration are used to calculate a dramatic increase in potency. However, these samples were not representative of the marijuana generally available to users during this era. Potency data from the early 1980s to the present are more reliable, and they show no increase in the average THC content of marijuana. Even if marijuana potency were to increase, it would not necessarily make the drug more dangerous. Marijuana that varies quite substantially in potency produces similar psychoactive effects.
Oh, I think I know a myth. Myth: marijuana offenses are not severely punished. Few marijuana law violators are arrested, and hardly anyone goes to prison. This lenient treatment is responsible for marijuana continued availability and use.
Fact, marijuana arrests in the United States doubled between 1991 and 1995. In 1995, more than 1/2 million people were arrested for marijuana offenses. 86% of them were arrested for marijuana possession. Tens of thousands of people are now in prison or marijuana offenses. An even greater number are punished with probation, fines, and civil sanctions, including having their property seized, their driver's license revoked, and their employment terminated. Despite these civil and criminal sanctions, marijuana continues to be readily available and widely used.